Welcome back to GH Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the issue brewing between Drew Quartermaine and Willow Corinthos, a relationship that appears destined for a dramatic implosion. The inevitable collapse of a doomed romance. The foundation of Willow and Drew's relationship has been built on shaky ground from the beginning. What initially appeared to be a promising connection between two Port Charles residents seeking comfort has gradually revealed itself to be something far more complex and potentially destructive. Willow has placed Drew on a pedestal, viewing him through rose-colored glasses that blind her to his increasingly questionable behavior and moral compromises. As days pass in Port Charles, Drew's true character continues to emerge from behind the carefully constructed facade he maintains. His actions speak volumes about his priorities and values, which seem increasingly at odds with the image Willow has created of him in her mind. The disconnect between who Drew truly is and who Willow believes him to be grows wider with each passing day, setting the stage for an inevitable confrontation when reality finally breaks through. The relationship dynamics between these two characters reflect a classic soap opera trajectory: initial attraction built on misconceptions, followed by deepening commitment despite warning signs, ultimately leading to a dramatic revelation that shatters everything. Viewers who have followed General Hospital for years will recognize this pattern, though the specific circumstances surrounding Drew and Willow add unique elements to this familiar framework. Drew's mounting deceptions. Behind his charming exterior, Drew has accumulated an impressive collection of lies and manipulations that would shock Willow if she knew the full extent of his deception. His refusal to support Jason Morgan's alibi when his brother needed him most represents just the tip of the iceberg in terms of Drew's moral failings. This betrayal of family loyalty should have been a red flag, but Willow instead defended Drew when Carly Spencer raised concerns about his behavior. Drew's ethical compromises have only escalated since then. His involvement with deception raised eyebrows among Port Charles residents, but even this business entanglement pales in comparison to his recent activities. The blackmail of Dr. Portia Robinson represents a significant crossing of lines, demonstrating how far Drew is willing to go to achieve his objectives regardless of who gets hurt in the process. Perhaps most concerning is Drew's willingness to enter into arrangements with Selena Wu, a known mob boss whose influence in Port Charles has been growing steadily. This dangerous alliance shows Drew's comfort with operating in morally gray areas and his willingness to compromise his principles for personal gain. These choices stand in stark contrast to the heroic figure Willow believes him to be. The Nina Reeves secret. Lurking beneath all of Drew's other deceptions is the explosive secret of his previous intimate encounters with Nina Reeves, Willow's biological mother. This information, if revealed, would devastate Willow on multiple levels. Not only would it expose Drew's dishonesty, but it would also represent a profound betrayal given the complicated and often contentious relationship Willow has with Nina. The writers have created a powder keg with this particular secret. The revelation could come through various channels. Perhaps Nina herself might decide to come clean, believing honesty is the best approach. Alternatively, the truth might emerge through another character who discovers the information and feels compelled to share it with Willow. The timing and method of this revelation will significantly impact how the fallout unfolds. What makes this secret particularly potent is its personal nature. This isn't merely a business indiscretion or a questionable alliance. It's an intimate connection with someone Willow has a deeply complicated relationship with. The emotional impact would be devastating, especially given Willow's decision to move in with Drew and commit more fully to their relationship. The potential for cruelty. When relationships end on soap operas, they rarely conclude with quiet dignity. Instead, they often implode spectacularly, with characters lashing out in ways that reveal their true nature. Drew, when cornered and facing the collapse of his relationship with Willow, might resort to deliberately cruel tactics designed to inflict maximum emotional damage. The 6 words that Drew might ultimately throw at Willow, "Your mom was better in bed," would represent not just the revelation of his secret, but a deliberate attempt to weaponize that information in the most hurtful way possible. Such a statement would serve multiple purposes: revealing his deception, humiliating Willow, and creating lasting damage in her relationship with Nina. This potential for cruelty suggests that Drew's character may be heading toward a villainous turn rather than maintaining the heroic image Willow currently holds of him. His willingness to hurt others to protect himself or to lash out when rejected points to deeper character flaws that have been building throughout his recent storylines. Willow's inevitable disillusionment. Willow's journey toward disillusionment has already begun, though she may not recognize it yet. Her defense of Drew against Carly's concerns and her decision to move in with him represent a deepening commitment based on incomplete information. As more of Drew's secrets and questionable choices come to light, Willow will be forced to reconcile the man she thought she knew with the reality of who he truly is. This process of disillusionment will likely be gradual at first, with Willow making excuses or rationalizing Drew's behavior. However, at some point, a threshold will be crossed. Perhaps with the revelation about Nina, or perhaps with some other deception that makes it impossible for Willow to maintain her positive image of Drew. When that moment comes, viewers can expect a dramatic confrontation that will force both characters to reveal their true selves. For Willow, this will mean acknowledging that she has been blind to Drew's flaws. For Drew, it may mean dropping all pretense of heroism and embracing the darker aspects of his personality that have been emerging. The aftermath and new beginnings. After the inevitable collapse of their relationship, both characters will face the challenge of moving forward. For Willow, this will likely involve a period of self-reflection and healing, perhaps with support from other Port Charles residents who had seen through Drew's facade earlier. Her relationship with Nina may also be permanently altered, depending on how Nina responds to the revelation of her history with Drew. Drew's path forward is less clear. He may continue down a darker road, embracing the villainous tendencies that have been emerging. Alternatively, the loss of Willow and the consequences of his actions might serve as a wake-up call, potentially setting him on a redemption arc. The writers have left multiple possibilities open, allowing the character to evolve based on audience response and narrative needs. What seems certain is that neither character will emerge from this relationship unchanged. The experience will leave lasting marks on both of them, influencing their future relationships and choices in ways that will continue to play out in the ongoing drama of Port Charles. Next, we will learn about the issue surrounding Brooke Lynn Quartermain's past and present family dynamics, which has been creating waves in Port Charles lately. The complicated present, Chase and Brooke Lynn's fertility journey. Brooke Lynn Quartermain and Harrison Chase find themselves at a crossroads in their marriage. The devastating news of Chase's sterility has forced the couple to confront difficult questions about their future family plans. Their recent heart-to-heart conversation cleared the air after Chase's impulsive suggestion to use his brother Hamilton Finn's sperm as a donor, an idea that Brooke Lynn immediately rejected with visible dismay. "We need to find our own path forward," Brooke Lynn told Chase during their intimate conversation last week. "Whatever we decide, it has to feel right for both of us." The couple appears to be gravitating toward using an anonymous sperm donor, following a path similar to T.J. Ashford and Molly Lansing Davis, whose journey to parenthood progressed relatively quickly. This option would allow them to have a child without the complications of having a known donor actively present in their lives, unlike the situation that would have developed had they chosen Finn. Medical experts at General Hospital have already begun discussing options with the couple. Dr. Terry Randolph explained, "Many couples find that anonymous donation provides both the genetic diversity they need while maintaining the family boundaries they desire." The looming secret, Gio Palmieri's true identity. What makes this situation particularly complex is that Brooke Lynn is harboring a life-altering secret. Giovanni Gio Palmieri, who currently lives under the same roof as Brooke Lynn, is actually her biological son with Dante Falconeri, a child she conceived as a teenager during summer camp and subsequently placed for adoption without ever informing Dante. The irony of the situation is palpable. Brooke Lynn interacts with her biological son regularly, completely unaware of their connection, while Gio has no knowledge that his birth parents are fixtures in his daily life. This creates a powder keg of emotions waiting to explode. The psychological impact of discovering such connections later in life can be profound, notes Dr. Kevin Collins, who has handled similar cases in Port Charles. The revelation often triggers a complete re-evaluation of one's identity and family relationships. Lulu's moral dilemma, to tell or not to tell. Lulu Spencer now finds herself in possession of this explosive information, creating a moral quandary that grows more complicated by the day. Her loyalty to Dante, her own complicated history with Brooklyn, and her understanding of the delicate nature of the situation all pull her in different directions. Carly Spencer has advised caution, reminding Lulu that Brooklyn made what she believed was the best decision for her child years ago. However, Lulu struggles with the knowledge that Dante was denied any choice regarding his son, a fact that deeply troubles her given her own experiences as a parent. Sometimes the truth causes more harm than good, Carly warned Lulu during their confidential conversation at Kelly's. But secrets have a way of coming out at the worst possible moment. As Brooklyn potentially embarks on a new pregnancy journey with Chase, Lulu's ability to maintain this secret will be severely tested. The sight of Brooklyn glowing with pregnancy while keeping Dante's biological son a secret may prove too much for Lulu to bear silently. The potential fallout, a family in crisis. If the truth about Gio emerges while Brooklyn is pregnant with her and Chase's donor-conceived child, the repercussions could be catastrophic for multiple families in Port Charles. Chase would need to process not only that his wife had a child she never mentioned, but that the child's father is Dante, a close colleague and friend. For Dante, learning about a son he never knew existed would fundamentally alter his understanding of his own life and family. His reaction could range from anger at being kept in the dark to a desire to establish a relationship with Gio, potentially disrupting multiple family units in the process. Gio himself would face the most significant impact, discovering his adoption story and biological parents simultaneously, while also learning that he's been living alongside them without knowing. This revelation could trigger an identity crisis for the young man who has already faced considerable challenges. Brooklyn's emotional journey, past and present collide. Brooklyn's decision years ago came from a place of youth and fear. As a teenager, she wasn't prepared for motherhood and made what she believed was the most responsible choice. Now, as an adult longing for a child with her husband, the past she's tried to bury threatens to resurface at the most vulnerable moment. Her character has evolved significantly since those teenage years. The once rebellious Quartermain has found stability with Chase and established herself professionally. A pregnancy now would represent a full-circle moment, a chance to experience motherhood on her own terms, with maturity and support she lacked before. "I've always wanted to be a mother," Brooklyn confessed to Chase during their recent conversation about fertility options. "I just want to do it right this time." Her choice of words, though unnoticed by Chase, reveals her subconscious acknowledgement of her past decision. The Quartermain legacy, family secrets and revelations. The Quartermain family is no stranger to secrets and unexpected family connections. From Edward's numerous affairs to the various children who have appeared in Port Charles claiming Quartermain lineage, Brooklyn's situation follows a long-established family pattern. If Brooklyn becomes pregnant through donor conception while the truth about Gio emerges, it would create yet another complex branch in the already tangled Quartermain family tree. The family's reaction would likely be mixed, shock at the deception but ultimate acceptance of both Gio and the new baby into the fold. As Tracy Quartermain often reminds everyone, Quartermains weather storms together, even when we're the ones creating the hurricane. The coming months in Port Charles promise to be filled with tension, revelations, and ultimately, the redefinition of what family means to Brooklyn, Chase, Dante, Gio, and everyone connected to them. As Brooklyn potentially embarks on creating new life, the life she created years ago may finally come full circle to meet her in the present. Next. Will Brad's descent into darkness lead him back to Selena Wu? What does the future hold for a man whose heart has been shattered repeatedly by the same person? This question looms large over Brad Cooper's storyline as viewers witness the aftermath of Lucas Jones' firm rejection. The burning question on everyone's mind: will Brad abandon his redemption journey entirely? Brad's character has always walked a tightrope between redemption and self-destruction, notes veteran GH analyst Maria Summers. This rejection might be the final push that sends him tumbling into the abyss he's been desperately trying to climb out of. The potential for Brad to return to his Aunt Selena Wu's criminal enterprise isn't just speculation, it's becoming increasingly likely with each passing day. Selena, the calculating crime boss who has been patiently waiting in the wings, recognizes vulnerability when she sees it. Brad's emotional devastation creates the perfect opportunity for her to reclaim her nephew as an asset in her organization. Family ties in the Wu organization aren't just about blood, they're about loyalty and obligation, explains Port Charles historian Jonathan Blake. Brad's temporary escape from Selena's influence was always tenuous at best. Now, with his emotional support system crumbling, the gravitational pull back to his family's criminal orbit may prove irresistible. Should Brad succumb to Selena's manipulations, viewers can expect a significant shift in Port Charles's power dynamics. Selena's operations could expand with Brad's medical knowledge and hospital connections at her disposal, potentially creating new conflicts with the Corinthos organization or the recently returned Cassadines. The question remains, is there anyone left in Port Charles who might intervene before Brad fully embraces his darker impulses? Brad and Cody, a dangerous alliance reborn? The potential rekindling of Brad's association with Cody Bell presents another concerning development for Port Charles residents. Both men find themselves at personal crossroads, making them vulnerable to poor decision-making and mutual enablement. Cody, still reeling from his own recent setbacks including the complicated paternity revelations and relationship struggles, stands as a perfect accomplice for whatever schemes Brad might concoct under Selena's direction. Their previous gambling entanglements demonstrated how quickly their dynamic can spiral into dangerous territory. The Brad-Cody connection is particularly volatile, observes Dr. Lisa Labrecht portrayer Kathleen Gotti in a recent fan convention interview. Two wounded individuals with questionable moral compasses finding solace in each other's company rarely leads to positive outcomes in Port Charles. Industry insiders suggest that upcoming episodes may feature scenes of Brad approaching Cody at the Savoy, perhaps offering him an opportunity to make quick money through one of Selena's operations. The writers appear to be setting up a storyline where these two troubled souls drag each other deeper into Port Charles's criminal underworld. What makes this potential alliance particularly dangerous is the combination of Brad's medical knowledge and access with Cody's physical capabilities and connections to prominent Port Charles families. Together, under Selena's guidance, they could become a formidable threat to hospital operations and beyond. The imminent professional fallout, Brad's career in jeopardy. Brad's professional life at General Hospital hangs by the thinnest of threads. His blackmail of Dr. Portia Robinson regarding Heather Weber's falsified test results represents a ticking time bomb in the hospital corridors. Whether through Portia's eventual confession or through hospital investigation, this ethical breach seems destined for exposure. The hospital board has been particularly vigilant about ethical violations since the Cyrus Renault era, explains Terry Randolph portrayer Cassandra James. Brad's actions, once revealed, will likely trigger a formal review process that few expect him to survive professionally. Sources close to production hint that upcoming episodes will feature tense scenes between Brad and Portia in the hospital lab, with Portia potentially issuing ultimatums about coming clean before the situation explodes. The writers appear to be accelerating this storyline toward a dramatic confrontation that could occur during a critical patient case, maximizing the stakes for all involved. Brad's deteriorating mental state will likely impact his work performance even before any formal accusations emerge. Viewers may notice subtle changes in his demeanor during lab scenes, increased irritability with colleagues, carelessness with samples, or extended absences from his workstation as he deals with his emotional turmoil. Hospital Chief of Staff Britt Westbourne's recent departure leaves Brad without his strongest advocate on the medical staff, further weakening his position. The combination of professional isolation and emotional distress creates perfect conditions for catastrophic workplace errors that could endanger patients. Selena Wu's masterful manipulation, the debt comes due. Selena Wu's character has evolved into one of Port Charles's most calculating strategists, patiently positioning her pieces on the chessboard of power. Her earlier demand that Brad resign from General Hospital to work for her family business was never truly abandoned, merely postponed. Selena Wu represents the old-school approach to family business, explains Ming-Na Wen, who portrays the character. In her worldview, Brad's obligation to the family supersedes any personal desires or career aspirations he might have.